Your spirit has been calling for answers. You're not imagining it. Welcome to Amelia's Spiritual Show. We are in Asia today. Little cards to show you the spirit that are around me. Eventually I'm gonna have a pendulum book, magic. Every time I buy a pendulum, because I got my certification, I'm now a master Reiki healer, so I've been training with clients already. I was renting a room in Montreal after my first business in beauty services for women was stolen from me, and I will tell you how it was stolen from me. Probably not the way you think.
Don't make it.
Your head is in the clouds. You're delusional. Dreamer!
Get a job!
You're boring.
What if it doesn't work? You think you're better than us? Give up. Weirdo!
I don't like it. You are so weird.
Just give up already.
Why are you even trying?
It's my destiny.
Basically, I had my first business, a beauty vision. Before I end up having pendulum magic and cards, I was into something very different that has nothing to do with that. So let me tell you what happened. And before I became a mermaid, just like the bottom of the ocean has never been discovered, well, I'm that person that is walking a path that was not, I will not say never walked before, but not a path that is very popular. And you will know why in Amelia's Spiritual Show. I don't even know where to start, but let's do the introduction. By the way, I'm a lady boss too. I'm a spiritual doctor. I'm a demon slayer. I am a peacemaker. I'm a mother of a freedom movement, the Army of Angels United. I am a targeted individual. I'm a speaker. I'm a lover. Did I say that I was a demon slayer? I think you were guided here. Your spirit has been calling for answer. You're not imagining it. Something is controlling you. There are people who profit from your pain. And this is the one place that they cannot silence you. Welcome to Amélia Spiritual Show. Basically, I'm gonna prove today. I don't have a pendulum, but I might look in Asia if they have, to prove to you that I'm working with energy. I've mastered this for 5 years, since 2020. I had a mass awakening in 2020. I felt like I was hit by the lightning, literally, in the proper sense. Amelia's Spiritual Show is a global movement, a global awakening movement created by a survivor, intuitive guide, spiritual healer, and founder of the Army of Angels United. Is storytelling and deep wisdom and channel messages coming through spirit, energies, alive or dead. Basically, what I believe at this point is that as I was able to be like Harry Potter in the movie, feeling like Harry Potter in the proper sense, having out of body experiences that looks like that, and then feeling like I have an invisible cloud on me, and then able to hear and observe conversation, just like I've been taken away, like, you know, like the chair is taking me like this, and then something has been taking me in rooms where I was able to have visions of human trafficking, even having people having bags on their head. So I'm really here to expose huge, big subject here. I'm like in my association, the Army of Angels United. Here, I'm advocating for human trafficking, remote crimes, basically human trafficking that happens remotely, abductions too, everything that happens with higher technology, terrorism, illegal surveillance, orchestrated accident and orchestrated earth attacks, targeted individuals movement is getting actually bigger every day. So like I said, I'm a visionary. I'm ahead of time, I know that. And what I talk about today might not be popular. I was able to be the victim of turbulation of space. Even ChatGPT in person, I can show you the proof. I've been doing PDF with ChatGPT. It told me that I should call the Space Force when I started my association, and I probably will have to call the Space Force. In my case, I will tell you, and I will put everything here of what ChatGPT told me. Actually, let's put the conversation of ChatGPT that I had. Also with ChatGPT, I was able to localize certain operators that happened, but so let's go back to the start, and let me tell you how I end up being here in that position. So let's go back in 2020. What was I doing in 2020? Let's look back. Oh no, was it the year I was kidnapped by a doctor? And
I was
then
talking about my kidnapping in the healthcare system.
thinking that I have a laser
I don't know,
place
like,
in my
how
house.
it's going, but
When I say laser,
If I start from 5 years ago, I truly had no clue of what was satellite terrorism.
no knowledge
of
about human
what was
trafficking,
doing what, how
human trafficking
powerful it
or
was to
remote
be
crimes.
tuning into
I had
your
no
brain
knowledge,
energy,
absolutely
how powerful
zero
it was to break
knowledge
generational curses and
back
traumas.
then.
I had no clue.
So it was very stressful, and I felt like I was about to die many times, to be honest. Probably close to near death experiences many times. And then before that, I started to have a lot more visions with my grandfather, visions with like times of war. I would tell my mother, for example, that I saw, like I can illustrate here what I've seen. Before actually COVID happened in Canada, this was in 2021, I did a trip in Republic Dominicana with my mother. I don't know if I have pictures, but this was 1 month that I traveled with her before everything closes. That was the last trip that I did. I did it with my mother, and I was really guided with spirit. Like if something bad would happen, and then after COVID happened, and like I felt like we were in an apocalypse. And actually that's what I say, like every I've been saying this a lot, that I feel like I am in the apocalypse of the Olympics of 2021 2025, because in 2020 everything was fine for me. It really started in 2021 when I received the first electroshock on my body. So there's so much things to say. I will not be able to tell you everything in that video, but I wanted to just talk to you a little bit and do an introduction on what we're gonna do here in this podcast. So when I was a little girl, I used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer a lot. I was with my little popcorn every Friday night, and I was just obsessed, and I really wanted to become like Buffy. I showed it in my intro. That's why I chose this as my introduction. I'm really looking up to Buffy the Vampire Slayer because I feel like I kind of manifested this in my life, because after all, like I had my first menstruation in 2020 here in my living room, unplugging from television for the first time. 2020, yes. So since then, I've been able to kind of use Buffy the Vampire Slayer as an example, and I even watched the show again in the last year. So, basically, she has a psychic attack, and she starts hearing and listening to all of the thoughts of everyone. Like she walks and she's like able to hear everything. So that's what happened to me. We are in a spiritual war, and that's why also I take the example of Star Wars. This is the first word that came up to me as almost a code from the universe. I received and I was able to channel Star Wars as what we are in, because there's dark and light forces. It's not a surprise, everyone knows that. It is a war on consciousness, a war, an informational war, a war on kids. And more than that, we are in a man-lab elaborated war, which means if I go back to Bill Gates in his conferences like 10-15 years ago, he was saying that the next war is not going to be a bloody one with guns and all we expect it to be. It's going to be a much more monstrous, a much more bigger, and this is what we are in, a neurological war. There's a lot of things to say. So Buffy has become a Bible, and not just Buffy actually. A lot of movies, a lot of series, I now see life in a different way. I see things for what they are. Let's just do an introduction today on why I put like my introduction about Buffy, about Harry Potter, Star Wars. So really what triggered my awakening was a psychic that came to me in 2020, and I told her about my perception that I had as a kid. I was already a psychic. I was really in tune with energy like a lot of kids are. They're very pure, they're very conscious. They're pure mostly. She said, maybe you have abilities, spiritual abilities, you should try meditation. And then here I am trying my first meditation here in my living room, and I end up tracing my hands in the air like this, SOS, collective solution. And then I would do at first how it started when I was a beginner in energy and all of this witch like magic and technological war or whatever it is. I was really new, and I was just like this. I would just close my eyes. Actually, I'm gonna show you. I was like this. I was like that, and then I closed my eyes for the first time like this, my hands open, and then I started to feel energy moving around slowly as I was trying to do it every day. And then I would put my hands in the air so they can talk to me. So I was tracing like drawings, but in the air. So like I would take notes, like I was taking my book, and I have a book, and I'm going to show it to you here. So I have a book here. So, and then I would write like this, what I had, and then I was like, then I had like SOS, collective, lucrative solution. And then I was looking up after I was drawing like a numbers that took me to like SOS something. And then I would hear on the back some people saying that they were hungry, like for food, and that they needed help. And so I was here to help certain people. And also I perceived like channel messages that told me that basically like there's psychic that are able to remotely draw robotic portrait of visions that they have, like me in my case. I took a lot of notes of visions that I have. They work directly with the police into investigation, into a lot of things. But unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption, and not just that. There's a lot of people who are not concerned. They're detached, disconnected these days. Like you see in series, like let's say the CIA, the FBI, you see like, oh my God, for hours they look everywhere and they do all of those research. They're so into it, like in the old times, that's what it was. Like they were so hard working and they really wanted to have justice. But this is not really what happens in real life. But anyways, I think in certain cases, and it's all a question of who is working where, but I am concerned about the world, but not everyone are. And you know, just to tell you why I end up advocating for the world and building my first association, First of all, because my rights, fundamental rights, were broken, but not just that, because I did actually, my first day in high school, I was 16, 17, and I went to the court to potentially be a lawyer. So justice was always a part of me, but not just that. It was like, you should do your criminality, like a technique in criminality, because I was really passionate about crimes, criminality, psychology. I wanted to be either a lawyer working with criminals or like psychology. And then I saw this series where I could see the inspector working, actually ordering pizza for a serial killer in a TV show. I forgot the name of it, but anyways, so this really stayed in my mind. I was like, whoa, I would want to understand how a serial killer think. So I was like thinking, and Amélia was like, wait a minute, I want to be like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, enslaved vampire. I love vampire movies. I love to understand the minds of serial killers. I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm not scared of death, of heights. I always felt like I was a cat with 9 lives. I'm actually going up on buildings with heels and putting my legs in the air. Survived so much accident, tattooed myself fearless. Here, my first tattoo here. Having angel wings on my back. And then I'm like, what's going on here? Did I manifest it accidentally to kind of advocate for the world and kind of save the world? Wait a minute. And so here we are, and there's so much more things to do, but I honestly need to leave right now, and I know that you can't wait to know more, and there's just too much things to say, and I don't know, there's actually like too much things to say. Like when Albert Einstein said that knowledge is limited and imagination is infinite, I'm gonna add also that consciousness is eternal, and this is what I have. And I'm actually here to raise consciousness of people and stop the mass destruction of this planet. So look at that. My first piano book. Is it an accident? Is it fate? I'm matching, and this is an example of synchronicity in my opinion. Like, you know, God is planning my outfit or something like that. And this happens a lot, and don't come at me, you, telling me, oh, she believes in those stupid things. 5 years of research studying criminals and terrorists remotely, building an association, and now continuing the work of the CIA, a man that had millions of dollars to deal with, director of the CIA, in a very good position, very influent, having 3 contracts over his life because he exposed corruption. Princess Diana, she was targeted because she wanted to help people, because she had too much compassion. And guess what? I'm advocating for animals because I have too much compassion. And I'm building an association, the Army of Angels United, to expose corruption and bring to light crimes and human trafficking and orchestrated accident and death. So it looks like I'm kind of like in the middle of potentially having someone having contracts over my life. And so to come back to the director, he said that in his room, he was sleeping in his bed like this. He was sleeping, and then he had to be careful and open the windows because there was a gas coming out of those things, the traps. So since that day, and maybe it's gonna save your life today, always keep your windows open, because you never know. You can be a threat, a potential threat to who knows where, who knows who. Just because you tune into your creativity, just because you have too much compassion, just because you want to help the poor people, just because you have compassion, and you want to bring your light into this world. Just because you have too much love to give. Just because you are excited about justice and that you want to be a detective. Just because you're a visionary. Just because. And I'm going to finish with that. The example of this little guy that brings alternative to electricity, and he said he is 12 years old, a genius for this time, and he's like explaining actually that the Bible that we have today is actually written in the intellectual capacity that we can have, like someone that tried to explain into words what is possible in this world. And when I say God-like energy, awakening, forgiveness, this is all awakening, spiritual awakening. There's no difference. Wait, what? Okay, I know it's a lot of information. Okay, so I really have to go to my class. We're gonna continue to another episode, and obviously I want to show you like all the cards are flying everywhere, but this is gonna be for another video. Maybe I'm gonna have time later, who knows. But this is what you need to know for now, and so keep your windows open, keep your eyes open, because right now they are telling people in the airport in Miami and all over the world to be careful for human trafficking. I'm just bringing awareness today, so you open your eyes to the corruption, potential human trafficking, and you are being careful because you don't know what they can monetize today. You have no idea the amount of things that they are trying to monetize today, starting with you. Your thoughts, selling your thoughts, selling your information, selling your reality. There's dark web system that exists, 360 projection. A lot of things are happening from other dimensions that we're not able to comprehend. And guess what? I'm just here. As a detective Sherlock Holmes, and actually a psychic told me I'm gonna be like Sherlock Holmes, a detective, before I was even targeted in the first place. So I guess this was meant to be. This was meant to be. This was my destiny. So anyway, so this is what it is, and Amelia's spiritual show is going to be a lot of things, because I have a lot of things to say, a lot of channel messages, a lot of research, a lot of truth to come to bring into this world. And also I'm here, as God told me in my vision, in my channel messages, I'm here to bring a different perspective through my book that I'm writing right now, about to be published soon, A Little Girl Behind the Yellow Bus, digital guides, one-on-one session. I'm really resurrecting myself after my job that was stolen from me, and I will do a full video on that in the next episode of Amelia's Spiritual Show podcast. I love you so much. Peace.